All right, so what I have on the screen here is yesterday I was reviewing what I was going to be going over with you today, and I created this just to kind of show you kind of a final product. And I did not write this, but I went to the History Channel and the website and kind of cut and paste the history of Halloween. And I wanted to start off showing you what we're doing today. You notice the highlighting and that there's a page border on this. There is 2 columns and a line. And I made a couple different pages out of it. And in the end, I went back to having no columns, a space here that I could type in, and it would be, I could create a whole paragraph. And then here's another way that, within a page, I could also create a little section that just had columns that would go back to underneath it, the regular page. Sometimes when you're creating something and instead of having all these in a line to fit on the page, you might want to do two columns to save that space instead of having a whole lot of white space over here and just these items bulleted here. So this is what we're going to be doing today. So I'm going to start off with a Word. I think I have to share this again. I'm going to stop sharing and open up a new Word document. And did any of you have the opportunity to use that split screen, having 2 screens open? So if you'd like, you could do that and kind of follow along with me if you wanted to. So, I'm open to that. So I opened up a new screen, Word document, and I have a blank Word document in front of me. And then one of the first things I want you to do when you do this section, you're going to have an assignment at the end, but one of the first things that I like to do is to go under Layout.
I just want to say that Candace says she cannot use the split screen on her computer.
Okay, she can just follow along then. And actually, I want to go to View is where I want to go. And under View, there is this ruler guide. I click that on, and notice my document, I clicked it off. There's no ruler. I like having the ruler on. This up here tells me where the margin is and where my white space that I can work with. Over here in the gray area, this section is the margin. And I always, quite often, work in print layout. Many of you probably use your document like that, but that's not how I normally like using. I like using the print layout so I can get a view of how it's going to look on my document. So I've clicked on the ruler, and I have my ruler here at the top. And the reason why I did that is when I go back, when I create columns, I'm going to be able to see the margin that's in between here. So to create just create a section and then also columns. So I'm going to type something I'm going to type that Happy Halloween here on my page. Go back to the home screen, center it, bold it, increase the font size. I've done that. Now I'm going to hit enter and come down a little bit. Go back to the left. I went up and justified it to, aligned it to the left margin. Now I go back to layout, and then here is where the breaks are. I'm going to hit break, and section breaks is where I want to go. I want to create a new section on this page that has columns in it. Notice you have different information here, where under section break you have like next section, insert a section break, and start the new section on the next page. If I wanted to do that, that's where I would hit, but I don't. What I want to do is be continuous, insert a section break, and start the new section on the same page. So I'm clicking it here. Then I'm going over to columns, and I'm choosing 2 columns, but I do want to show you where it says more columns. You can see that you have 2 columns, you have 3 columns, you have left, where the left side is smaller and the right side is larger, and then the reverse. I'm going to hit more columns because this gives me a little bit more information that I can set up here. So I'm going to select 2 columns and see how it tells me the width of the column is 3 inches. The spacing is 5, so there's going to be a 0.5 space in between. The columns are going to be equal, and they're going to be applied to this section. Excuse me. I'm also going to click a line between them. Then I click on OK. So now, if I go back up to that ruler on my screen, you can see there's a gray area up here where nothing will, once we start typing and go over and make a second column, a line will come down the center of that column. So I'm just going to go ahead and type a bunch of garbage in here. And see how that magically, I made it over to the other side, and see how that line appears automatically? Pretty nice. And then I can keep going. I'm going to hit enter. Oops, I'm going to go back over to the right column here. Cursor and hit enter. And again, I'm creating, going down, and I automatically have another column. Now, I'm going to go down here at the bottom here. So I've just decreased so I can view my 2 pages, and they're both in columns. I have 2 columns with a line down the center. We have a section at the top for the header. I'm calling it the header, but it's really not the header of the page. It's the title of my garbage I wrote here. So if you had an article, if you were doing a newsletter, or if you're writing a story that you wanted it to look more like an article of some kind, you would use the columns. Now I can go in and you can change the columns to, if you wanted 3 columns. I'm going to highlight this and change it to 3 columns. It automatically does it for me. Notice I went to columns, clicked on 3. If I wanted to do 5 columns on it, or let's change it to the left. So the left side column is smaller than the right column. You would use this if you were doing some kind of report and you wanted to have information on this side and definitions. When I look at this, I think of the Cornell note taking style with it. So that is how you do columns, create column breaks or create columns. So
I want to say that that is really handy if you happen to be making a newsletter, because you could have like different events for your organization in the skinny column and then maybe longer text in the wider area. Yeah, I've seen it used that way. It's really nice.
Yes. You could also too, depending on what you're doing, if you change the orientation to landscape this way, and you had, I'm going to make it 3 columns. If you were doing a brochure of some kind, you would could use this, a trifold brochure, or even a booklet too. Let's say you had a special event where you were wanted to have a program booklet, and you wanted to use 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. You can do it in Word. A lot of people nowadays, depending on the version of Microsoft Office, they have different versions. Some come with just Word, Excel, PowerPoint. The one the college gets has Publisher with it. And Publisher is a software program, a desktop graphic program that you can make brochures, calendars, lots of different things, invitations and things like that. But you can also do them in Word. Publisher is a little bit more powerful, but Word still has the capability of doing it. So that's how that is how you turn on the columns on it. Would you all like to take a moment and try it on your computer? Have you been doing that? Anybody?
Sure, we'll try. I'll try it.
Yeah. If you can split the screen, try it. And if you can't split the screen, you still can open up Word and do it, and you could hear us. You just won't see us.
Mm-hmm. Mary, is there a way you can insert like a picture or a clip art into that column?
Yes, and we are going to get into that.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, that's all right. I know that one of you was, is it Debbie who is interested in that?
Yeah, well, I have been, yeah.
And Stacy shared that your interest to me prior to the class. We're going to get into that during this program, but right now we're doing this, and as we move along, I'm gonna show you a little bit more on it. So are you trying it?
No, not yet. I don't want to lose you. There we go. There.
So did you all get it? Try it? Okay. Ready for me to move on then? Okay. I am going to go back to this document here and bring this up. And this is where, as you guys were sharing, the next thing that I'm going to do is apply a border to this. I took the border off, and borders is going to be in design. Under the design tab, actually the design ribbon, way over to the right hand side, you're going to find page border. I click that on, and this box, dialog box, pops up. And it allows me to select different types of borders, and it automatically goes to page borders. Right now it's set on none. There are different types of borders. I'm going to do a box. So that means you can see here what the preview looks like. It's going to box the page. And mind you, it is a page border. So it's the entire page. Then I can select here the style, the type of border I want. And you can scroll down through and look at the different borders that they have. And they start getting kind of a little bit fancy. And I'm going to click on that one. Then I can also change the color to it. If I go to more colors, this is the colors, theme colors that automatically pop up. But if you go to more colors, you can look at the standard, or you can go custom and pick through here. I normally kind of stay with the standard, and I'm going to choose a blue color, hit OK. And notice the 3-point, that's the font size of that line. I can, well, that's what I have selected, but you can also, you have selection of art borders that they have. Let's see if I can change to something, because this document says Happy Halloween, if there's something that kind of goes along with it. These are all built into the program. Oh, I'll go something a little bit colorful. So this is now off the style. Now it's this, the art style that I selected, and I'm going to do the whole document. Just going to show you what options say right now. Options tells you what kind of, from the top of the margin where it's going to land, and it's going to measure off the end of the page. The only time that I've ever kind of played with this, sometimes when you create a page border, it won't be on the page. It will drop down to the bottom of the border, ends up being on the page of the next page. And this is where I would come in to fix that, and select, the right now it's on edge of page. I might want to select something and play with it if I needed to, but I really don't need to now. But that's what's in that section there. So I hit OK, and notice, going back to the document, it automatically puts that border around every single page.
Nice.
So kind of a nice, once you get playing with it, these are fun things that you can do. All right. Now the next thing, and this comes into play about what Debbie had asked about inserting something. I'm going to go back to home right now. And actually, I'm going to change what I just said. I want to actually go to design. Nope, insert. Sorry about that. Insert is the area where you do put in objects. What I'm going to do is see the T right here? I highlighted that. And if I come over here, can add a drop case. I'm going to do that. Click that on, click this on, and drop the case. That makes my T bigger. See that? And I could go down through and do that for every paragraph. And you notice that in some books or articles you read, they do that. This is how that is done, is here. Also, I'm going to jump ahead. I think it's in Module 5, that, or maybe next week, that you really, we're going to spend some time on the inserting objects. I'm going to come down here, and this is especially for you, Deb. If I wanted to insert something into my document, this is where I would go. And I'm going to insert a picture. I just inserted a very big picture. This is actually last spring. This is the first snow crocus that bloomed in my garden. Now that is on the full page. And all I did was go into insert, select pictures, and that takes me to on my computer where my pictures are. I don't really have too many pictures on. It's my work computer, so I don't have too many pictures on it. But you could send pictures take pictures on your phone, send them to you yourself via email, open them up, and then save them to your computer on your hard drive, and then you can, pull them from your hard drive. I could go out to the web and get a picture too if I wanted to. Once you have your picture in your document, you'll notice that there's little circles kind of outlined. If you put your mouse on these little circles, you would change the shape of it. You can make it smaller. I'm going to go right to the bottom one. And I've just made my picture smaller. It's a little distorted, but you can adjust it to what you would want it to be. You can also, over here on the left-hand side, you'll see when I move over there, it kind of gives me a semi-circle, a little bit more than almost a full circle. That helps. I can twist my picture around if I wanted to. What I'm doing here is moving it. I can make it look like, go backwards like that. And adjust it. And then I can make it a little bit bigger, more there. So that's how you insert something. But then if I wanted to type around it, I would click on the picture, and wrap text is where I would select how I want my text to be. And I'm going to select type. So that takes me right up to, and I'm going to make my screen bigger over here, and I can just type in right next to it, and it will automatically, when I get to the end, pop me right underneath the picture. That's a lot of information in a short period of time, but you're going to have the opportunity next week. We'll go over this again, and I'm going to give you an exercise in practicing it. And again, that's the only way that you're going to get used to doing it, is to play with it and have some fun with it. Going back to the very top of this document. I have to go slow because your pictures are covering up my scroll bar on the side here. This right here, how I created that, I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to change this a little bit. I'm going to highlight that, and then I'm going to go back to design, and I'm going to go back to where it says page borders. Not only can you border the whole page, but you can also create borders just around certain headings if you want, or paragraphs. So under borders over here, I'm going to click that on, select 3D, and I'm going to do a little bit, a thicker line. And I'm not going to do any color, but over here it's got paragraph instead of whole page. I click that on. I have just boxed out that heading there. If I right click that, it allows me to add some fill to it. Let's see. Oh, that didn't do it. Hang on a minute. Oh, that highlighted the wording. That's not what I was trying to do. Come back up here and no fill. Stop highlighting. What I want to do is get back on the box.
If you make it bigger, doesn't your cursor be able to select that little fine line?
No, because this is a border. If it was a picture, it would do that. But this is a border around text. So it's not going to do that.
What if you made the image that you're working on, you have a small page on a large screen. If you make that larger, then your mouse can find the line?
No, that's not going to help me right now.
Okay.
I did it yesterday and I don't know why I can't do it today. No, it's not that. I could be in the wrong.
There.
No. Nope, that took that off. I'm gonna go back to page border. Oh, duh. I'm sorry. All right. I go back to page borders. I'm going to hit page borders, box, make it wider, hit paragraph. Now I come back, I still have this here. I go back to page and then to shading. Now I've added color to it. Okay. And I'm sorry about that. So that's how you can take your text box and add color. Now, what we're doing right now is putting borders around text, but you can also do that. If you remember last week, I told you that there's always 2 or 3 different ways to do something. And that happened, that is so true. Now I went to another page, and if I go back to home and actually to insert text box, I'm going to select draw a text box, and I have a cross here. And now I draw a text box and I can type in this box. When I click away, you see your box. You can, within this box, I can go in, highlight the words, center it, make it larger, change the type of font that I'm using, bold it, move it down a little bit. Actually, I'm going to move it up a little back. Oops. So that's how you insert a text box. You can create boxes and insert objects into your boxes too.
Can you show everyone what you do if you decide, oh, that box is way bigger than what I wanted? Show them how to make
the box is bigger than what you wanted.
Yeah.
Again, you click on it. Notice I got my little circles. Whenever I have my little circles, that means I can adjust the size. You can do this for pictures. You can do it for boxes. If you, next week we insert symbols and other things, we'll be able to size them into different sizes on it. Okay. So that is the border tab. We went through the borders. We did page border, text border, paragraph border on it. And we also, the shading that you can do, even within here, here you can adjust, get more into adjusting what you want in your box and wrapping the text here with it. And I did briefly show you the drop case. I'm just going to go over that again. So if I highlight this H and go back to insert, over here to the little text box area, this is where you play around with your text. And I click. Oh, there it is. Highlight that. I can make the, oops. That's a different type of text. This is built into Microsoft Word. WordArt is what it is. Have any of you ever used that before?
No.
I can't get that to disappear. All right. So that leads us to what was in Module 2. And there's a practice exercise that I'd like to send you all. If you had, did you all pick up your booklet?
Not yet.
Okay. All right, then we'll move on to, after the class, I'll send the practice exercise that goes with Module 2. It's on page 32. The document itself is a Word file. I'll send it to Stacy that she can distribute it to everybody. And I'll include the instructions. I'll have to cut and paste the instructions and put them into the email so that you can do that. All right. Now, the next module is Module 3. You guys just did a lot in one module. Do you want to take a few minutes and play with, before we move on to Module 3? You practice with columns. I gave you a few minutes to do columns. Do you want to do a few minutes and try shading, putting a border around a page, changing the color of it, making a little paragraph and putting a border around that and putting some color to it? Take a few minutes to try it while it's fresh in your mind.
Try it, and if you have any problems or questions while you're doing it, you can either unmute yourself and ask them, or you could type them in the chat, and we will try to help you out so you'll be able to do it.
Thank you, Stacy.
So Mary, you're going to be following right along with the modules that are in that printed book that we picked up, right?
Yes.
Okay, because I was going to say I couldn't find something, and when you were talking about shading the boxes, here I am looking all over trying to do it the way you did it, and I just used the paint can with a pull down. You know, under the home screen, over in the paragraph, I just use that paint can. It's so much easier.
Yeah, that's the way I do it too.
Oh, there you go. Okay, thanks.
But there's always one way.
There is,
Yeah.
I can think of 3 different ways to do it. The way I walked you through, and that's what's in the book, the way you just described it. And you can also do it on the your right side of your mouse. I don't know if you use your right side of your mouse a lot. I do.
Yeah.
There's got a lot of functions. The right side of your mouse is really powerful. You know, it pops up. Let me share that screen again.
Yes, she didn't tell anybody. Great.
When I click on the right side of my mouse, a lot of things pop
I
up.
think she was in denial.
That the paragraph, the line breaks. If you're on a picture,
Yeah,
This is one without a picture.
Maybe you could
yeah,
mute
I think
whoever's
he
got
was
the
an accident,
background
to be
noise going
honest.
on. Thanks.
I think Noah was an accident.
Okay.
A good one, but I think she was in denial. Because I don't think they were planning on having kids. But, like,
Okay,
right.
Someone has themselves unmuted and we can hear your telephone conversation, which you probably don't want.
that's not what I want. Okay, I brought this document back up for a moment. If I go to the picture and I right click it, you'll see a lot more pops up where you can send it to the front or you can send it to the back. And this allows you to type over things and such. That is something that we'll get more into when we go into next week's class. But you can see here how the right side of the mouse gives me a lot more options to do things. So I don't have to go back up here to the ribbon and find different areas. All right. You guys ready for the next topic?
Yes.
Because it's called mail merge. And have any of you ever used that before?
No.
Okay. No. I see Lisa shaking her head yes. Well, you know all those letters you get as junk mail sometimes? Or let's say you're writing the same letter to 10 people. You can use mail merge is the function in Word that will allow you to create a document and use one file source of names and addresses. So you only have to do the letter once and you can create 10 letters with it. So it's pretty cool. I'm going to have to do a little break here for a moment. I'm going to minimize my screen. I just need a little timeout to help an instructor that is having problems. And I'll be back in about 30 seconds. Back here.
Well, have you all been making borders at home? Does anybody have any questions or anything? Or maybe you're trying one of the other things she's shown us, and if it's not working out, ask. We'll try to help. Just remember, if you ask out loud, to unmute yourself, or I can't hear you. I do that all the time. It's easy to forget.
Lisa, did you solve your header problem?
Yeah, did you, Lisa? Did you try the solution that Shirley's husband, Glenn, provided?
I printed out the instructions, but I have not had a chance to follow through on it. It seems logical, but it's good to have it printed out so that I can remember it.
Yeah.
It's not what I'm expecting to do.
Yeah, the things with a computer that you don't do every day are the things. It's good to have a file somewhere, so you remember how you did it. Like she was about to talk about mail merge. I have to look that up every time. I don't do it every day, but when I do it, it's complicated enough that I just look it up.
The other option is to have your 8-year-old grandson, and
Yes.
you're trying to teach him Control P or Control T, and he says, oh, this is what Control A does. This is what Control B does. And he went through all of them, and I'm going, okay, I don't have to teach you anything. Just remember what it was.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
not
that's kind of
afraid.
neat. I've never done that. So did anything really amazing happen?
Control F is very helpful.
Yes, Control F finds words in
Yes.
documents. I
Yes.
use that every day.
And you can replace whatever it is that you had there with a different word for every time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm looking up names in a cemetery
Mm.
because I do genealogy, and you can have the list of all the people in the cemetery and say Control F for Smith, and you will get all the Smiths highlighted, and then you can go down and see if that's the one you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's very helpful. Sometimes I get asked to do things for people where I don't have time to read huge documents for people. So Control Find can get me right where I need to be to
That's
give
right.
the patron the information they need, and it's great.
Yep.
It's the best. It's my favorite shortcut.
Very
I wouldn't be able
helpful.
to live without it. Well, I would, but you'd never see me. I'd just be
On the computer. There you go.
computer. I'm on the computer a lot anyway.
Okay, you folks ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to share my screen again, and this time with a blank screen of a blank Word document. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so I have a blank Word document in front of me again. And this time, we're going to create a mail merge document. Under mailings, if I click that on, you notice that we have envelopes, labels, and you can do all these things in Microsoft Word. The book doesn't cover envelopes, but if you were to do envelopes, you type the address here that you wanted to send it to and your return address, and you put your envelope into the document and print. You want to make sure that you have the correct size envelope mark that you wanted. You can see that the preview here, it looks like a number 10 envelope. You can change that under options. And you can also do labels in this area too. Under labels, you can also create labels for, oh, let's say you wanted to make your own return labels. You could do a whole sheet of those, or if you were sending a package, you can do labels here too. But the function that we're going to be looking at is the mail merge. And under mail merge, they have a step-by-step mail merge wizard. Really walks you through the process itself. You just follow the instructions here. It does it for you. You select letter, then down here, the next starting document. Click that on, and then it asks you, what do you want, how do you want to set up your letter? I'm going to use the current document. I just have that on, and then I click next, and the next step is your list. Now, I don't have a list of names that I'm going to use, but I could use an existing list that I've already created. If you were in an organization that had to send out emails or notices to people, you could do it. You could use your Outlook contacts, or in this case, we're going to type a new list, and we're going to create it, and it automatically has the fields set up for you. So I'm going to create 3 people, and I'm going to and I'm just going through and typing in that's one person. If new entry is a new line, okay, so I've made made a little mailing list here, and I hit OK, and this is going to I'm saving it to my desktop and actually my intermediate Word file so that if I wanted to use it again, it is there. Okay, now the recipients are all marked, and I'm just going to hit OK again. Now the next step is to write your letter. And in this, over here in the letter part here, I'm going to just automatically put the date in. I could go up to the ribbon and have it automatically, but it just, if you start typing it does it for you. Back over here on the right hand side where it says address block, I'm going to click that on. And notice what pops up on my screen, the address box. I click down and then I choose greeting line. And in greeting line, from the, it shows here what my greeting line would look like. I'm going to say yes. I want to be formal in this letter. There's my greeting line. Now I would type in, and I'm just going to go back out to cancel the document I was using earlier today. Nope. You know what? Am I still sharing my screen? Nope.
Yes. Whoops. No.
You were on the page that had
Yeah.
the green line, but now you're not.
Okay. All right.
Now it's back.
Okay, thank you. That was quick and easy. Okay, so now I'm going to preview my letter. And that's what it looks like right now. It automatically stuck my first person in. I'm going to do a little changing here. I'm going to remove the line spacing. Next, I'm going to complete the mail merge. Everybody, there's some things wrong with my listing. And if I use this list, I'm sorry, the picture of you folks was blocking somebody. There, blocking my screen. Now that I moved you and I saw this little pop-up screen that told me to, that I wanted all three recipients. Now I have three letters. I can see that I have down here, it says page 1 of 3. And I can scroll down and I will see the other letters. They're all here.
So we're not seeing what you're seeing, just so you know. We're just seeing the letter to Doe, Mr. Doe.
Okay. Sorry about that. So you just saw Mr. Doe, right?
Right.
All right.
But we didn't see like the page 1 of 3 or any of that.
Do you see it now?
No, we see everybody now. We're out of share screen.
Okay. All right, that's Mr. Doe, and that's not the one I want. What it did was it created a whole new document. Why is that? All right. Yep. Don't save. And then this one. All right. Every time, why is that doing that for me? Stop sharing.
Oh, now we have Mrs.
There we have. Okay. I apologize. I feel like I do that a lot. Every time it creates a whole new document so that the original document that had Mr. John Doe that I was sharing with you, that's what you were seeing. Word, when I asked it to mail merge, created a whole different document, and its title was Word Document 2. For some reason, I'll blame me on it. It's a technical difficulty with me. You folks were seeing John Doe with one letter. I was seeing a document with 3 letters on it. I didn't realize that I had to close out and go stop sharing that one document to show you the new document. And I was confused because they're named the same. They look very similar and they're named the same.
If you scroll down on this one, it has all 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have all 3 there. Now you can then print all 3. You can go back to the original, and like with this one here, I would want to go back and do it again and fix how we have the city and state not on the same line. You can do that right with your within your mail merge. Go back to the source, and I'll do that in a moment. And notice too, we have a comma here. This was a business letter. I would be using a colon, and that is something that you can fix. I am not going to save this. I'm going to cancel it. Don't save. And I still have this is the original mail merge document that we started out with. And if I go back in my steps and go back to greeting line, move this box over. Notice here has a comma. I can change that to the colon. I can also go back to my source, edit the list here, if I wanted to add somebody, let's see. Oops. Well, I'm going to put them in last name order. I switched the order so they come out alphabetically by last name.
What if you wanted to take the comma off of Ms.?
Well, I'm going to try editing that one right there.
Excuse me. I think you would have to take the person. You have to take them off and then re-add them correctly.
You should be able to edit right within here.
You would think, but oh, there you go.
Yes. There you go. Just by clicking on this here. And let's look at the list again. Ooh, what happened to everybody else?
Hmm.
Okay. All right. So that is the mail merge function. I want to go through the pages here. Yeah. So the next thing is really for you to try it on your own. And what I can do is get you the files. It'll have 4 names on it and a letter so that you could try it. Do you folks want to do that? Do I hear noddings of heads?
Yes.
Sure, sounds like a plan.
Rattle,
Okay.
rattle.
So you'll send me the
Yep.
practice and I'll send it to everybody. Okay.
I didn't. No.
Sharon, are you there? Sharon Lockemeyer?
Lockermeyer's here.
Oh, okay, good. You got in, but I can't see you. But you can see everything that's happening? Okay, good. I left you a message because I was
I
worried.
hit, but yes, I'm watching. I'm
Okay, good.
watching. Thank you.
48.
Oh.
Mary,
Yes.
about the mail merge, it says that you can use Outlook address book. If you don't use Outlook, can you take and make a mail merge through an Excel document?
Yeah, that would be select the choice where you can select a list.
Okay,
Yeah, that should do that.
okay, all
I
right.
wasn't looking at it. I'm back in. Let's see. Oh, we're not on the right screen. But remember when she was on one section of it and to the right it said something
Yes.
about choose a list. I forget the
Right.
exact wording.
In the wizard.
Yeah, and that will do that because normally when I do have to do a mail merge,
Mhm.
that's how I do it. I
Okay.
import it from a spreadsheet.
Okay, all right, great,
I
thank
haven't
you.
had to do one in a while, so I always have to look it up. It's actually, this is way better. My computer's old. This is nice that they walk you through this a lot more than they used to.
It is helpful.
Mary, did you send the homework?
No,
Oh, not yet.
getting it right now.
Oh, okay. Just checking that I'm not missing it. I got worried maybe something went wrong.
Okay. Is that letting me cut and paste? taking it from the manual. So with that said, how many of you are going to pick up the manual from the library in the next day or so?
I have mine.
You have yours. So on page 48, you have the addresses, and then on page 49 is the letter itself to practice with. For those who do have it, and then you know what I'll do though? We didn't talk about it tonight, but I have another worksheet that is creating a table.
Mary,
Yes.
just if you want, I could quickly send them basically probably what you would have sent them, which is 3 to 5 addresses and a letter, and they can try to mail merge. Is that what you were gonna send them?
Yep.
I'll put something together super fast. Maybe you can show them how to make a table while I do that.
Okay.
Does that work?
Mm-hmm. But I am going to send you a different assignment, which would be the table assignment.
Okay. That works.
Okay. Okay, now I brought up that letter, and I'm going to insert a table. And under insert is where you have your tables. And if I select draw, I can draw it. Or if I go back to tables and insert a table, a little box will show up, and I can set how many columns I want and how many rows I want. So I'm going to do 5 rows and 4 columns. And I'm going to have the text to auto-fit information into it. Notice the column comes right up. And let's say, I'm going to put breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, and exercise here. I misspelled exercise. Okay, so I have my table here. And again, I can do things with my table, such as highlighting the background. Ooh, I'm just showing you a bunch of different
Email
names.
addresses.
Yes. If I type stuff in here and I hit enter, it automatically makes the whole row the same size. And I can go through and do this. Then you can change any type of, let's say, I have the first line and I want to change the text of the first line. I can do that. I can also change the type of borders that are on there. So I sent Stacy one of those assignments that really walks you through it so that you could do this on your own. Then you can type underneath your table anything that you want. These are great for presentations of some kind, or again, if you're inserting a table within a document, you wanted to show information to folks, you could put a table in. You can then, let's say this here, I wanted to delete it. I can delete that column and make it smaller. I can also go to the end here and insert a column. And I'm going to insert it to the right. So if I was making something and I didn't put in enough rows or columns, I can add more to it. I come down here and I right click, and it'll allow me to insert. I'm going to insert a row below so I can increase my table if I wanted to. And this is nice, quick, and easy. That's one thing that Word has. Every time it does make improvements, it does make it easier. The mail merge feature has come a long way. It used to be that you would have to go in and put field 1, field 2 into your original document before you did the mail merge. But nowadays they have this wizard in there that walks you through it. Same with the table. If I wanted to add another table here, I would go to Insert, go to Table, pick out what I wanted, and this time I'm going to go for 3 and 5. You can auto fit to the contents. 2. And notice my table is really small right now. And then as I type over, if you hit the tab, I'm in this box right here. If I hit tab, it takes me automatically to the next box. Hit tab, I'm in the next box. Okay. So like these cells that are right here, I'm going to highlight them. Yep. And add some color to them. So you can do this in Microsoft Word. It makes it nice and easy. And you can also take a table that you have created in Excel and bring it over into your Word document if you wanted to. Or you could create a table right in it. When you do it this way, though, unlike Excel, which would automatically, let's say you had numbers in there, it would automatically add up something. It doesn't do that feature in Word. It does in Excel, so you might want to cut and paste your table from Excel into your Word document.
Mary, one of the students would like to be shown how do you add another column or row?
Okay. I'm clicking on by lunch, and then I'm right clicking. And where I want it, I right click, then I have insert. Go down to insert, and I'm going to select to insert a column to the right. And it automatically does that. Notice that it stays with a green background in it. If this column was plain white, this would have been plain white. Okay, you would have to format it the way you wanted to match other things, but it will just automatically format the next one that you add to what the one is previous to it.
Is
Again,
sorry.
I got the mouse down, the cursor down at the inside the box on the left-hand side. Right click, go to insert. This time I'm going to add a row above. I can't see anything different because the row was empty. But if I had, let's say if I put text there, then click this on, add a row, right click it. Right click and add a row above. You can see that it is above. If I'm over here again, insert, and I'm going to go a row below. There I have my row below.
And one more question. This is a really good question because I don't know. I don't think it can be done, but maybe it can. I wish it could be. Can you add more than one row or column at once? Like say you wanted to add 2 or 3. Do you know of a way to do that?
The only way that I think that you could do that, if I highlight this and I go back to insert table, no, it gave me a little table right in there.
Yeah.
I think you would have to go back and restart your table over again.
Because sometimes you want a table that's bigger than the number of blocks they give you. Oh, do it there. Okay, right.
Yeah. I don't think you can add on to this one here. And depending on what you're doing, you might want to, if you're doing a table and you're not quite sure of how many rows and columns that you'll need, and it's something that you can create in Excel because they're already there, and then you can just cut and paste it from Excel into your Word document.
Yeah.
I noticed when I went here, you could go to your Excel spreadsheet right there to do it.
Another thing you could do if you're not comfortable with Excel, you could make your table way larger than what you think you might need because it's easier to get rid of columns and rows than in my opinion, than it is to keep having to add.
Yeah.
Actually, if you need to add like 3 or 2 columns, if you put your cursor to the top of the row, the column, and highlight it. So I just highlighted 3, and then you right click on it and you put insert columns to the right or the left, it will automatically multiply. So I added 3, so it'll add 3 on a cut and paste type of thing. Am I explaining that right? So I put my cursor to the top of the column, all the way to the top, and then you highlight the whole column. And then if you just right click it and put in and go to your insert, you can add your columns that way. And you'll get, you know, however many columns you highlighted, it'll add that many more.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
So if
you're
you
saying
highlight
all
4 and
3
you
of them
I did
Right.
not know that.
like that.
Yeah.
So what you're really doing is copying and pasting.
Kind of.
Almost, yeah. And it works the same for rows too. So columns and rows, if you highlight what you have and you just go over to insert and it'll do more. If you
Yeah.
wanted to do cut and paste, that's easy too, but
No, well, that's what it's doing. It's actually doing that. You're highlighting what you want, even though the words
Right.
aren't saying that. It's that, again, I go back to saying that Word does things many different ways, but it's the same thing.
Mhm.
But you can do it in different directions.
Right. They give you too many options sometimes.
Oh yeah.
I want to thank Lisa for asking that question because I've always thought there has to be a way and I didn't know. So thank you. That's a good question. And thank you to Debbie for having the answer.
Okay, so Stacy,
Yes.
I sent you the table assignment,
Mm-hmm.
and did you throw together some names and addresses?
I did, and I told everybody, but I was muted, so you didn't know that.
Okay.
So it's all waiting for everyone. There's 2 emails. One has the mail merge practice. It's just 5 funny addresses I made up, and just something I took from online for the body of the letter, and then whatever Mary's assignment with the table is, that's there too. That's a second email.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to send Stacy another email with remove. Okay, the next assignment that I sent Stacy, it's a news article document, and the email that I sent Stacy has what I would like you to do to it is to add a border, make it 2 columns, and add a drop cap to the first paragraph of each news article. It's 2 news articles. that you're going to create into a page with 2 columns on it. It's all typed up for you, so if you would like to do that as a practice of what we went over in the first hour. All right, so that is actually everything that's in module 2 and 3 with a little bit of extra that's not covered in the module, but the table is not covered in it. But you have that assignment that shows you how to do it. It walks you right through, just like the assignment 1 and 2 that I gave you last week, as far as bolding and the copyright sign. If you read the assignment, and it walks you right through it, you can create, I ask you to create a table, kind of your own little personal calendar of activities. Okay. That covers everything that I had put together for today. Do any of you have questions? We got about 10 minutes left, and I'm willing to kind of open it up and say, what else do you want to kind of throw at me tonight that we could kind of walk through?
If you're shy about talking, just type it in and I'll read it.